You know those places that just feel like they're straight out of a movie? A town that has this timeless magic to it, a charm that feels both totally nostalgic and somehow brand new. Well, today, we're going to step right into one of those towns. Okay, just take a look at this scene. This is Seneca Falls, New York, with a perfect blanket of snow. You can see the holiday lights just twinkling over that Bridge Street Bridge. It's so unbelievably Christmassy, you can almost hear the church bells and imagine running right into George Bailey himself.
And you know what? That feeling, it's not an accident. For decades, it's been whispered, even believed, that this very town was the real-life model for Bedford Falls in the classic film It's a Wonderful Life. It's way more than just a local legend. It's really at the heart of this town's identity.
But here's the thing. What happens if we brush away all that cinematic snow? What do we find underneath? Because the story of this beautiful town isn't just about holiday magic. Nope. It's built on something a lot tougher, something forged in water and good old-fashioned grit.
So to really get how this town even exists, we have to start with water. It's the one thing that literally, and I mean literally, carved out its destiny.
What's so cool about this is how it connects the past and the present, right here, side by side. On the left, you've got today's idyllic scene, with those holiday lights just shimmering on the canal. And on the right, that's the blueprint. This town wasn't some happy accident. Its streets were laid out with the cold, hard logic of an engineer. And that engineer's name was James Geddes. He was one of the chief minds behind the Erie Canal. And he didn't just design a waterway, he literally drew the map for the community itself, planning out the very streets and lots that would one day become Seneca Falls. So you have to understand, this town's growth was this very deliberate step-by-step process, and it was all driven by industry. First came the locks in 1818, then the big connection to the mighty Erie Canal. Seneca Falls was built around the power of water to move stuff and to fuel factories. And get this, that beautiful lake you see today? It was actually created by expanding the canal back in 1915.
And of course, with that kind of industrial boom, you're going to need people. The machines needed hands, the factories needed workers, and that set the stage for the next huge chapter in this town story.
This number right here tells such a powerful story. In just 30 years, the Italian immigrant population in Seneca Falls just exploded. They were drawn by the promise of steady work at huge places like Gould Pumps, and families came here looking for a better life. And this just captures the human story behind those numbers perfectly. These weren't just workers clocking in and out. They were families, building a whole new community from the ground up, bringing their culture, their faith, and their incredible resilience with them. And they did exactly that. It is absolutely impossible to overstate their impact. They didn't just chip into Seneca Falls. They completely transformed its economy, its population, and its very soul. All right, so we've seen the big picture. Now let's zoom all the way in and see how this all comes together in the story of one family that really, truly embodies the spirit of this town. This is the law office of Joe Lucchesi, and its location, it's just perfect, isn't it? Right across the street from the Women's Rights National Historical Park, a place that literally changed the entire nation, sits this office, dedicated to serving the everyday justice of the local community. It's like the town's whole history in a single frame.
And Joe Lucchesi isn't just from Seneca Falls. He's a part of it. His story is just so deeply woven into the fabric of this town, representing all the generations that came after those very first immigrants.
But the man he became, well, that wasn't forged in a courtroom or some fancy law school. It started right here, in a home that was built on the values his parents passed down to him. You had his dad, Peter, who ran the local Ford dealership. I mean, that's a hub of mid-century American optimism right there. He taught Joe that business wasn't about the sale, it was about trust. It was about your word. And then you had his mother, Maura. She was the bedrock of the family, making sure they were grounded in the loyalty and strength of their Italian heritage. So when you put all these pieces together, the movie set magic, the industrial grid of the canal, and that incredible strength of family, you really start to see what makes this place so special. And this, for me, is the key. The charm of Seneca Falls isn't some shallow, pretty facade. It's authentic because of its tough industrial immigrant history, the iron and the water. That's what makes the warmth of this community feel so real and so meaningful. And so, we come right back to the water. The very same canal that once powered factories and carried cargo now just
reflects the holiday lights. It's a perfect metaphor, isn't it? The town's industrial past is now carrying its beautiful, resilient legacy.
And it really leaves you with a thought. Maybe a wonderful life isn't about everything being perfect and easy. Maybe, just like Seneca Falls shows us, it's about the community, the history, and the strength that you forge right in the middle of all the hard stuff.